Welcome to ShadowMeTarot. I just did another unboxing that you'll have to look for called Animal Spirits. They're knowledge cards also. Both are using the paintings by Seddon Boulet. And the meanings for these cards are written after the painting was done. So it is up to the author, not the artist, as to how the images were used to fit a meaning. So in any case, the pictures are gorgeous for the Animal Spirits one that we just unboxed. Now let's see what happens with goddesses. The Animal Spirit one was interesting in how it kind of gave some history about each of the different animals and what they represent in different cultures. But I did feel like the artist chose paintings and meanings that were very similar. So in an I'm not sure how I'd use the animal one, but I'm hoping that the goddess one will resonate with me more. Somebody else wrote the text for this goddess one. So let's take a look. Looks like we start with Athena on here. Same kind of cardstock, also printed by pomegranate.com, which is out of Portland, Oregon. Yeah, actually this cardstock I want to say is even maybe slightly thicker. Maybe. It's okay. All right, so we have Athena, and these are all kind of long descriptions, so I'm not going to be doing both of them, but I can dig this for Athena, right? We've got moon phases in here, which is interesting. We have a snake in here. So, all right. Athena is presented by the Greeks as the virgin goddess of war and wisdom, a symbol of courage and friendship. She often counsels warriors to gentleness. She is especially honored as goddess of agriculture, the creator of the olive tree and the flute, the ship, goldsmithing, and shoemaking. The goddess who introduced the yoke for the oxen and the bridle for the horse. She is a patron of all useful and elegant arts. In Greek mythology, Athena is said to have breathed soul into the men created by Prometheus, and to have helped Prometheus steal fire from the heavens to give to men. Athena is a wonderful affirmation that there are no limits to what a woman can do with her intellect and creative ability. So I like that there's an affirmation at the end here. No limits to what a woman can do with her intellect and creative ability. And rather than woman, I would even say divine feminine, or the divine feminine. So that is Athena. The next one is Eagle Woman. And she looks like an evil eagle woman. You know what? Let me zoom in on this really quick. All right, so there is Athena. And now we have the Eagle Woman. She teaches that women can express the qualities of the eagle while continuing to contain and nurture. Then we have Sedna, the one down there. Actually, let's do it this way. Was once a beautiful Eskimo woman who lived with her father. None of the local suitors appealed to her, and she refused to marry until a fulmar, a type of bird from across the sea, promised to take her to his home of luxury. When she found she had been deceived and was ill-treated, she begged her father to take her home. As the two were crossing the water, a flock of fulmars caused a huge storm to arise. To save his own life, Sedna's father threw her into the ocean. As she clung to the boat, he chopped off her fingers, oh my God, which turned into whales, seals, and all the mammals of the sea. Sedna descended to Adlivum, the Eskimo underworld, where she now rules the dead. To ensure that she will continue to send food to hunters, shamans descend to visit her, comb her hair, and massage her mutilated hands. Sedna is a reminder of the nourishing gifts that are to be found deep in the dark, cold places that we most fear. I have read this in another goddess I have literally read this almost the exact same text in another goddess deck. Okay, I just stopped the video and I looked and looked and looked and I cannot find Sedna or where I saw it. I must have either returned it or saw it in a video when I was trying to shop for cards. Or like in a, I don't know, a picture or something like that. I know I've read this exact same verbiage for Sedna before, and I've heard it before, or I've seen it. I imagine it is a common, I imagine this is a common story. It's kind of a dark story. I guess there's a lot I can infer from that, and this resonates definitely more for me than the animal spirits did, but I imagine animal spirits will resonate more clearly for some people that maybe the goddesses deck doesn't. But it's interesting. I mean, that's an interesting deck. Just because I've heard it more than once, I kind of am like, oh, this is a real story. This is, I want to say that the content for the images, I want to say has probably been well researched, which is kind of, that's good. I think that's good. All right. So now we have Hathor, and Hathor is, ooh, this like, I don't know, leopard person. Hathor is nourishing a nourishing great mother's goddess, is the Egyptian mother of all gods and goddesses, usually portrayed as a cow. She is a sky goddess, the queen of the heavens. The sun emerges from her womb and the moon from her breast. She is the goddess of love, mirth, beauty, and sensual pleasure, as well as the protectress of all women. In her other guise shown here, she's Lady of the Night and Queen of the Underworld. Hathor reminds us that we too must acknowledge all parts of ourselves, that what we might call destructive is something necessary to allow our creativity and compassion to flourish. So, as I go through these images, I'm only gonna read this last sentence of guidance here. Otherwise, it's just too long. The video I don't have that much time today. Otherwise, I would. So a little cougar lady there. And it's to acknowledge all parts of ourselves that we might call destructive is sometimes necessary to allow our creativity and compassion to flourish. And that's Hathor. Amphitrite. Amphitrite can moderate the winds and the sea. We can learn to calm the waves of our inner storms. Okay. So that very much looks like the Eight of Swords kind of energy to me there. I can see that, trapped by our own thoughts. Then we have Fortuna. Fortuna gives us a way to approach the ups and downs of life, perspective that can offer us some equanimity as we proceed on our journey. Hina. Hina represents the part of ourselves that creatively brings forth nourishment even in the midst of what appears to be death and decay. I don't think the artist was alive to participate in the production of these cards. I sure do wish they were. Demeter offers a blessing of fruitfulness and possibility of coming joy, of abundant life, and of hope. Then we have Arian Hod, keeper of time, giver and nurturer of life, shows us the universality and cyclicity of our lives. She is there to nurture us through the dark night of our soul changes. Kuan Yin is a symbol of the unlimited compassion each of us have for ourselves. No matter what the situation, it is possible to treat ourselves with mercy and love. I think these are great stories. If you're trying to learn goddesses, I kind of feel like this is probably the right deck. And you know, the whole point of this is knowledge, you know, knowledge cards. So let's see. Flora teaches us how to honor things both inside and outside us. She's a reminder to pay attention to pleasure, to the beauty of spring, and to new life wherever it is found. And this is their depiction of Flora. Then we have the Spider Woman. She's a reminder that good comes from everywhere. Even the lowly spider, sometimes dismissed as irrelevant, has the power to create and teach. There's Spider Woman. I know I have seen some of the, I've seen this redone. I know I have. I know I've seen this redone, and I can't think for the life of me of where I saw it. I almost feel like this might be in the Goddesses, the Colette Baron Reid Goddesses one, which I can't seem to locate. I've heard these I've just heard these before, and I've never had this deck before, and I don't think I've ever read, you know, books pertaining to goddesses. So I almost feel like this is older. It feels like it's older. But it doesn't say when it was printed. It does not say when it was printed, so who knows which of these came first? Probably just the story. But this is probably definitely a good starter deck for learning goddesses. Athena, and that's her. And a goddess familiar with both life and death. She teaches that wherever we are on earth or in the depths of the underworld, we too can be shining. Epona, comfortable in both the realm of life and that of death. Epona is a strong symbol of independence, nurturing, intuitive, understanding, instinct, and vitality. And that's her. Then we have White Shell Woman. A Navajo chant says, all things around me are restored in beauty. It is because of White Shell Woman that this is so, and it is because of her teachings that we can experience the exquisite harmony that comes from being alive on this beautiful earth. Then we have Venus. Venus is a striking affirmation of the love of beauty and the pleasure of the senses. Risen from the sea, she is a guide through both the stormy and the calm waters of our physical desires and emotions. Then we have Valkyrie. She reminds us that seeds germinate in the darkness, that sometimes we need darkness in order to grow. And that's the Valkyrie. Triple Goddess. She reminds us that despite her many forms, there is one goddess always present and always sacred. Oh, the Triple Goddess reminds us of our sacredness, regardless of our age or function in life. Then Laszlo Total. Laszlo Teotl. Is the Toltec Earth Mother, the goddess of carnal love and desire. She is proof that anything that can overwhelm and destroy us also has the power to heal and grant forgiveness. And that's their image. Thetis, she is responsible for providing a peaceful sea. She is that center of peace and calm that is always available, even in the midst of changing forms. She is a goddess who enjoys life's pleasures. And that is her image there. Then we have Themis. She is deep wisdom, familiar with both the depth of the earth and the heights of the sky, to guide into the soul. And that's her. The Sphinx. There's beauty even in the heart of that which terrifies. A symbol of strength, wisdom, and royal power, she reminds us that nothing comes to creation without some destruction, and that sometimes to solve a mystery we must enter the darkness. And that is the Sphinx. Then we have Celine. She is traditionally represented with the crescent moon as a diadem. Celine represents the fullness of life, incorporating all phases of light and darkness in her shining. So I'm going to just kind of say it again. I kind of wish the artist was able to take part in the messages that are being portrayed. I almost feel like the artwork would have been loads different. All right, so Rihanna is, she's a reminder of the close balance between death and rebirth. She demands that we honor our instinctual and animal selves as a source of creativity, abundance, and order. Psyche is a rich reminder of our imperative to grow. She reminds us that the process of life takes us into dark places as well as light, just as the butterfly emerges from the dark chrysalis into the light. Persephone represents the ability to rule over the aspects of ourselves that are terrifying in the extreme. Pele, or Peel, or Peely. I know I have read this card. I've seen this. I cannot for the life of me think of the deck or find the deck that I would have opened that has all of these. I'm going to have to go through my videos because some of my decks I admit I return them after I unbox them, because if they don't resonate for me, then, it doesn't serve me to keep them. But everybody gets a chance to at least look at them. But boy, I sure do wish. I cannot find, but I know that Sedna and Pele were in the same Oracle deck, another Oracle deck that I must have returned because I don't have it. I'm looking at everything and I'm like, where is it? What was it? But I just don't think I have it anymore. I think I sent it back. But if you know what it is and you find it in my videos, I will give you a surprise if you find it. I'll probably do like a personal reading or something for the person who finds where Sedna and Pele are in the same deck. Sedna and Pele in the same deck. And what I like about this deck actually is that it does have the story of the goddess on here, and I think that is kind of important, considering if you're using goddess decks, it is kind of important to kind of know the story behind it, and it's so interesting to me as well. So anyways, I'm enjoying this deck. So Pele, she reminds us that even in the midst of fiery eruption, there is creation and new life. Morgan Le Fay, the ambivalence which she is traditionally represented, echoes our own fear of her deep and ancient wisdom. Morgan Le Fay represents that deep place of healing magic within each of us, the center where wisdom and healing flow even in the moment of death. Ooh. Minerva. Minerva is the goddess of dawn, of wisdom, The owl is a symbol of death and wisdom, and thus Minerva, a goddess of the dawn and of wisdom, is also a goddess of death and transformation. Minerva is an incarnation of wisdom in human form, an affirmation that we can use our knowledge and wisdom in the pursuit of any goal we choose. All right, then we have Medusa. And Medusa, let's see. Medusa is serpent energy, enlivening, terrifying, impersonal. Somehow Medusa is a symbol of growth and generation that dies, so that from death many may come life. Became a symbol of fear, for to look directly upon the divine is to face a terrifying reality. And Pegasus is instinct, wisdom, imagination, life force, and intuitive understanding. All right, and then we have Mary. She's a reminder that compassion towards oneself fosters creativity. She reminds us to be gentle with ourselves. Then we have Lilith. Lilith challenges us to look upon our dark side and incorporate it into our wholeness so that our great beauty can blossom forth. Lady of the Lake is a guide to the mysterious realms of emotion and renewal, a source of immense creativity. She can give us energy we need to rule our lives. Cultus. Although she is somewhat feared because she can determine people's destinies, she is most revered for her gentle wisdom. She is a compassionate guide to the mysteries of life. Cultus, the gentle guide to the mysteries of life. Then we have Ixchel. Like the waxing and waning moon, is comfortable with all sides of life. Her energy is midwife to our own creative ideas. Ishtar is also in the deck that I read that I cannot find. I thought it would be in the Gods and Goddesses one, but it isn't. I'm at a loss. I'm like, I know I've seen these goddesses represented, and their exact stories nearly in other decks, and I just can't find it. All right, so Ishtar is she represents the creative, feminine, active, and strong, and she looks like that. And then we have Inanna, and she is a representation of the many facets that go into being feminine, as well as a guide into the dark places of psychological and spiritual death and disintegration. High Priestess is a reminder of the innate wisdom in each of us. She demands that we connect to the divine spark within and manifest it in the world. That's her. And then we have Hera. Hera is also in that deck that I saw, or that I unboxed. So if you find it, let me know, and I will, the first person who finds it and lets me know which deck it is, I will give you a reading. Hera is a mature, powerful goddess combining both practicality and nurturing, a strong image of supremacy of the queen within. And that one is Hera. And then we have Hel, is the embodiment of the divine mystery, a challenge to look behind the mask of appearance, to see things as they really are. Gaia. She is a reminder that we must ground ourselves in the reality of nature and incorporate all sides of ourselves, be they pleasant or unpleasant, light or dark. Then we have Eve, is the embodiment of primal female creative energy, of the powerful urge to create and sustain life. She is active femininity and relatedness to all that lives. She is life itself. All right, so this one is Eve. Now we have Diana. Diana stands for part of us that is at home in the wildness, at home with our primitive instinctual nature. and that is Diana. And then we have Changing Woman. Very much alive today. She is a tremendously nourishing goddess who teaches the wisdom of nature and the cycles of birth and death. And then we have Bast. So this is the Changing Woman. Then we have Bast, the quintessential life-affirming mother. She reminds us to be playful and relaxed like a cat and to find occasions to celebrate life. There we go. And then we have Artemis, the archaic mistress of animals, probably dates back to Paleolithic times. Her realm is the wilderness, and her concern extends to all wild, untamed things. She reminds us of the value of solitude and the importance of wild, unprotected places. She shows us those frightening places that bring healing even through fear. And that's her. And then Aphrodite. Aphrodite is most often described as radiant and shining. Okay, so before I go on, I need to kind of acknowledge that this exact same picture is in the Animal Spirits knowledge cards. The colors are more vibrant in the Goddesses deck, but the meanings for each one is cat, which means independence, magic, abundance. What's even more weird is that this one is showing that it represents the goddess of Artemis, right? And in this deck, in Animal Spirits, and in this deck it says it's Bast. So I do wish the artist was alive to have participated in this deck. Truly, I really do. Wish that. All right, so moving on beyond that disappointment that there are duplicate cards in the two decks, but they're using, the paintings of a dead person, so and trying to match up meanings to it. So this is just a good indicator of what I like. All right. So Artemis is the archaic mistress of animals. She shows us those frightening places that bring healing even through fear. And that's her. And then we have Aphrodite, demands maturity. If we are to be in true relationship, when we embrace mature love, Aphrodite is there to bless us. And Isis and Osiris, in the deck that I'm certain that I read and probably posted, has Isis and Osiris as well. But like I said, I cannot find the deck for the life of me. I have a feeling I may have returned it. But I would, if you find it, first person lets me know, I'll give you a free reading. Isis is the universal goddess representing total femininity. She can overcome death itself, yet she is not above grief. One of her tears, wept with Osiris was dying, caused the Nile River to flood. She underscores the depth of emotion that even a goddess must feel. So, and this is the picture for Osiris. So let me know what you think of this deck. What are your thoughts on it? And please like, subscribe, and share. If you can give me a thumbs up or a heart in the comment section, that helps me grow the channel. Thank you so very much for watching. Have a beautiful, blessed, wonderful day.